everyone, so let's move towards our today's topic, which is
spinal nerve and reflexes. So first we will gonna talk about spinal nerve. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerve which are arising from the spinal cord, and these spinal nerve along with the cranial nerves, these are the part of the peripheral nervous system. Okay, 8 सर्वाइकल नर्व होती हैं, 12 पेयर्स ऑफ थोरेसिक स्पाइनल नर्व होती हैं, फिर 5 लंबर रीजन से अराइज होती हैं, फिर 5 सैक्रल रीजन से एंड 1 कॉक्सिजल रीजन से. अब होता क्या है ये आपको समझाना बहुत ज़रूरी है, सो लिसन दिस केयरफुली. What happens, as you know, the spinal cord consists of outer white region and inner gray region. The gray region consists of 2 horns, that is anterior horn and posterior horn. Okay, that is dorsal horn, or in other words ventral horn. Anterior horn is also known as ventral horn, and dorsal horn is also posterior horn is also known as dorsal horn. So from the dorsal horn, what happened, the nerve are arising, okay, and they are forming dorsal root, and these neurons are basically, and these fibers are basically sensory fibers. The function of sensory fiber is to receive the information from different parts of the body towards the central nervous system. Okay, and from the anterior horn, which is the ventral horn, the nerve are arising, the fibers are originating, and they are forming ventral root, and that ventral root consists of motor neurons, which supplies which sends the motor information to the muscle or to the organ, to basically these are the effectors, and they send the signal to the organ that you have to perform this function and that function. And the ventral horn, from ventral horn to which are forming the ventral root, they consist of sympathetic nerve fibers as well as parasympathetic nerve fibers. In other words, autonomic nerve fibers are also present in ventral root. Now the dorsal root and the ventral root both are meeting, and they unite and they form a single nerve that is known as spinal nerve. Now spinal nerve consists of motor nerve fibers, sensory nerve fibers, as well as also, as you know, intermediate nerve fibers, interneurons as well, and with parasympathetic nerve fibers are also present. Okay, now that spinal nerve is coming out of the vertebral body through intervertebral foramen. As you know, between the two vertebrae, between the two body of the vertebrae, there is a space known as intervertebral foramen through which the spinal nerve come out. Okay, then they will supply to the organ or different organ, muscles, and so on. Then what happened, the spinal nerve, after coming out of the vertebral column, they are forming 2 different rami as well. One is ventral rami and another is dorsal rami. Now dorsal rami is supplying, and it is basically consists of motor as well as sensory fibers, and the ventral rami also consists of motor as well as sensory rami. What is the difference between ventral and dorsal rami? Dorsal rami is for the posterior side of the body, that means back side of the body. Okay, and if we cut our body into 2 halves, that is anterior and posterior, so whole body, then the posterior part of our body is supplied by dorsal rami, and the ventral is supplying to the anterior part of our body. Now ventral rami, as I also told you, that they also consist of sensory fibers and motor fibers as well. Now what happened, for example, first remember this thing as well, that sympathetic chain is present along with the vertebral column. Okay, along with the vertebral column, a chain is present known as sympathetic chain. Therefore, the preganglionic fibers of the sympathetic nerve are smaller as comparatively postsynaptic neuron. Okay, the presynaptic neurons are smaller because the sympathetic chain is near the spinal cord, whereas in parasympathetic nerve fibers the presynaptic neuron is long because they have to travel towards the organ, and in that organ, after reaching towards that organ, then they form ganglia, and then the postsynaptic neuron arises. So in parasympathetic nerve fiber, as you know, the postsynaptic neuron is the length of the postsynaptic neuron is short, and in sympathetic nerve fibers the presynaptic neuron is short in length. Now what happened? The ventral rami, anterior body supplying, and dorsal rami is supplying to the posterior part. If remember this thing, that in our muscles there are two types of receptors. One is muscle spindle receptor and another is Golgi tendon receptor. Okay, now muscle spindle receptor are present in the belly or in the body of the muscle, which is receiving the information, which is sending the information to the nervous system, and that information is about the length of the muscle. कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल मसल की लेंथ में चेंजेस आ रही हैं तो वो जो डिटेक्ट करेगा रिसेप्टर वो होगा मसल स्पिंडल. जो दूसरा रिसेप्टर है दैट इज गोल्गी टेंडन रिसेप्टर. एज द नेम इंडिकेट दे आर प्रेजेंट इन द टेंडन. सो टेंडन की जो टेंशन है अगर वो चेंज हो रही है तो वो कौन रिसीव कर रहा है इन्फॉर्मेशन? वो गोल्गी टेंडन रिसेप्टर रिसीव कर रहे हैं. ये रिसीव करते हैं इन्फॉर्मेशन एंड दे सेंड टुवर्ड्स द सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम. अच्छा, अब सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम में इन्फॉर्मेशन जा रही है तो थ्रू कैसे जाएगी? अगर एंटीरियर पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी से जा रही है तो वो वेंट्रल रेमाई के थ्रू, और अगर पोस्टीरियर पार्ट के से इन्फॉर्मेशन जा रही है तो वो डॉर्सल रेमाई के थ्रू स्पाइनल नर्व में जाएगी. देन सेंसरी इन्फॉर्मेशन है तो वो कहाँ जाएगी? डॉर्सल रूट में, देन डॉर्सल हॉर्न में. फिर जो उसको इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलेगी, जो इफ़ेक्ट करवाना होगा, उससे परफॉर्म करना होगा फंक्शन, वो इन्फॉर्मेशन मोटर न्यूरॉन्स के थ्रू, एंटीरियर हॉर्न के थ्रू, देन फिर वेंट्रल हॉर्न जो है, वेंट्रल हॉर्न, देन फिर वेंट्रल रूट, फिर वेंट्रल रूट से स्पाइनल नर्व. और अगर एंटीरियर से आ रही थी इन्फॉर्मेशन एंटीरियर पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी से तो फिर डॉर्सल रेमाई में चले जाएंगे, और सॉरी वेंट्रल रेमाई में चले जाएंगे. और अगर पोस्टीरियर पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी से आ रहे थे तो डॉर्सल रेमाई में चले जाएंगे, और टूवर्ड्स दैट मसल, जो उसके अराउंड मसल मौजूद होगा उस मसल पे दोबारा चले जाएंगे और वहाँ जाके साइनेप्स बना लेंगे, और उस साइनेप्स को कहेंगे न्यूरो मस्कुलर जंक्शन. ओके, एज वी हैव ऑलरेडी टॉक many times that what is neuromuscular junction. Neuromuscular junction is the junction between nerve and the muscle. Okay, clear? So this is the whole topic you have to remember. And one more thing, the dorsal root is also forming a ganglia as well. Okay, so remember this point as well, whereas the ventral root is not forming the ventral ganglia. Okay, another important point, that is ventral rami is further subdivided into two parts, that is subdorsal and subventral division. The subventral division is supplying to flexor muscle and the subdorsal division is supplying to the extensor muscle. As we have already know that extensor muscle of arm, flexor muscle of arm, flexor muscle of forearm, वगैरह 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 etc. So that basically muscles are supplied by ventral rami. Okay, so this was the whole topic, and this is the very most important topic of the spinal cord. Take care, good luck, work hard, study hard, and good luck. Bye, thank you.